Christianic C1 review covering Las Vegas and the world this week of July 20th so far through July 24th. A lot of prominent people have sadly passed away. And before we get into these individuals, we at C1 Review would like to send our condolences to the family and friends of these individuals. Let's start with one of these people who we actually knew and had on C1 Review multiple times, prominent defense attorney Roy Black, who of course represented high-profile clients, including Justin Bieber and Rush Limbaugh, among others, died this week. Of course, aside from being a trial attorney and a defense attorney, of course, Roy also taught at the University of Miami for many, many years. So he was also Professor Roy Black, besides attorney Roy Black, of course, married to the social mayor of Miami, Leah Black, who has been on C1 Review many, many times over the years and has been a great support to us. We send our condolences to Leah, his son, RJ, and daughter, Nora, as well. At the end of this recording, we're going to play one of our CY interviews with Roy that we had at the Black's Annual Gala, an annual charitable fundraiser that Roy and his wife Leah used to put on every single year to help at-risk youth. So look for that CY interview when we spoke with Roy in person at the Fontainebleau one of those years at the gala. Prior to the gala, you'll be able to hear that as well. Secondly, we want to send one of the great professional wrestlers of all time, Hulk Hogan, died today. He was 71 years old. As far as pro wrestling history goes, I don't think there's probably a more iconic moment in WWE and WrestleMania history than when Hulk Hogan body slammed Andre the Giant at WrestleMania 3 in the Pontiac Silverdome. Reality, what it comes down to at the end of the day, that's one of the signature moments in WWE and pro wrestling history. Of course, the role in Rocky 3. And then, of course, a lot of people also reflect upon when he left World Wrestling Entertainment and went to World Championship Wrestling and became heel for the first time in the New World Order with the whole NWO thing. Of course, Hogan would return to the WWE after that and even play a questionable character, a questionable gimmick by the name of Mr. America, where Hogan was under a mask while wrestling, which people thought was funny for a moment in time and then wasn't anymore. Of course, arguably, in my opinion, his biggest feud or favorite feud of his career was with the great Roddy Piper, a past two-time CY interview guest. My opinion, Roddy Piper was the greatest opponent of Hulk Hogan. Some will also talk, of course, about the Ultimate Warrior who beat Hogan at one of the WrestleManias, but I will say Hogan versus Roddy Piper. There it is. Andre the Giant, sure, but to me, still Roddy the Piper goes above and beyond that. Next up, of course, is the great music legend Ozzy Osbourne. A couple of weeks ago, Black Sabbath did their last show ever at the Villa Park in Birmingham over in Europe. And, it's kind of amazing, right, that Ozzy was able to perform one last time with Black Sabbath. Black Sabbath is, the pioneer, one of them, of heavy metal music. And of course, the song I always think about is Crazy Train. That's the song I always think about when we think about Black Sabbath. And if you never really paid attention to music in general, you would probably remember Ozzy from the MTV reality series, The Osbournes, from the early 2000s, where they were one of the early families in reality TV. Of course, Jack and Kelly and Sharon were also in that show. So rest in peace to Ozzy Osbourne. He died at 76 years old. Next up, Malcolm-Jamal Warner, actor and comedian. Many of you may remember, I remember growing up with the UPN network watching the comedy of Malcolm-Jamal Warner and Eddie Griffin in the TV show Malcolm and Eddie, which ran from 1996 to 2000. Eddie Griffin, a past C1 interview guest as well, who performs here ongoing in Las Vegas. Other roles included The People vs. O.J. Simpson, And of course, he also had a role in the TV movie The Tuskegee Airmen. Malcolm-Jamal Warner, gone too soon at the age of 54, reportedly, I believe, drowned in the waters of Costa Rica. Very sad stuff. Finally, Chuck Mangione, one of the great musicians of our time, of course, made his name in the Art Blanky's band, 30 albums during his career. And one of the most random things about Chuck Mangione, which is kind of a funny one that I forgot about until I was doing research for tonight's CY interview segment, is Chuck Mangione had a recurring role on the animated TV show King of the Hill, which I used to love and watch. The King of the Hill is actually coming back now in a futuristic one where they're all grown up, and it's a new world for the people of Arwen, Texas, I believe is what it was. So that's a review of some of the prominent people who died this week. And again, we send our condolences to all of these people, including and above Leah Black, former CY interview guest, the Real Housewives of Miami, social mayor of Miami, who lost her husband this week. Prominent defense attorney Roy Black. We at CY Interview, thank you for watching this video. If you like this content, please hit the like button below, and please hit the subscribe button below to keep up with everything we have going on here at CY Interview in Las Vegas and beyond. Now here's one of our conversations with prominent defense attorney Roy Black.
We're here with one of our frequent CY Interview guests, attorney Roy Black. Roy, it's always good to see you. Can you believe it's been 20 years?
It's hard to imagine. We've been through so many of these with such great people, great entertainment. I can't believe that my wife has held out this long.
And why is that?
She has more energy than 10 other people, and to put this on every year is an enormous amount of work.
We appreciate it. Of course, you were back in the national news earlier this year representing Justin Bieber. What was it like to work with the pop star?
Well, Justin is the kind of person that us elderly men admire because he has every girl between 15 and 25 hungering after him, so we can only fantasize about things like that.
You made analysis on the Oscar Pistorius trial. What were your thoughts on his sentencing?
Well, I thought the verdict was correct, that there's no chance it was premeditated murder because there was no proof of premeditation. So manslaughter is classically what happened here. You can't shoot through a door without knowing who's on the other side. On the other hand, quite frankly, I think that 5 years was probably a more lenient sentence than I thought. I figured at least 7 or 8 or 10, so I was surprised. So I think the judge really believed that he did this shooting totally unintentionally. If she thought there was any intention to it, she would have given him more time.
What's coming up for you? What do you still want to do? Lots ahead still as a legal professional veteran you are.
Well, I'm very much involved in legal education, teaching at the law school, teaching lawyers. I love doing that. Of course, I still have a full caseload of clients. There are always interesting kinds of cases that we do, like Justin's case, or we'll have securities cases or mortgage fraud cases, all these interesting people. And what's great about it, what keeps me going, is each case you have to learn something new. That's what's so much fun about it. It's not like we do the same thing every time. You have to capture some new body of facts, and that's what keeps us young.
Brain power.
Well, I don't know if it's brain power, it's more desperation. But I love learning new things, reading about it, talking to people, and always gaining something new.
One of the great thinkers, Roy Black. Thanks as always for joining me. It's always good to see you, Roy.
Well, thank you so much for supporting our gala and being here tonight and taking pictures of all these fabulous people.
Of course. Thank you, Roy.
All right, my pleasure.